All right, welcome back to this video series on static and dynamic data structures. In the second video, what I like to do is just do a basic example of declaring an array, a static array. And so let's skip ahead here. So here's two different ways of declaring a static array. One is that we declare the array and then we create a new instance of the array. And so in this case here, this array is an integer data type, and it's called my array, and then it's going to hold 5 values in this array. The way to assess this array or to assign values to the various indexes and within this array, this would be one way of doing it. We would call the name of the array. You would use the open and closing bracket. You put the index of whatever position you want to store the value in. So in this case, my array 0 is going to hold the value of 1. My array 1 is going to hold the value of 4, and so forth. Another way of initializing an array would be to use what we call this, I kind of stole this term from C#, but it's collection initializer. And I think this is fairly new to Java as of version 11, but don't hold me to that. Previously, I don't think this syntax was possible. You had to only do this syntax. But this is another way here where you say, you give the data type of the array. How do we know it's an array? Because of the brackets, right? The open and close bracket. And then you give the name of the array, which is the variable, my array, and then equals the various items within the array. Here, with the collection initializer, it's going to, the size of the array is going to be determined on how it's initialized. And so in this case, if we give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values, we don't necessarily have to declare it like what we did up above. It'll just imply that this array is going to hold 5 values based on how we initialized it. What I'm going to do here is do a split screen here. I'm going to pull up another coding environment, and we're going to take a stab at this example here, and we're going to get some practice with both of these indexes here, or both of these syntaxes here. So here's a quick activity. What I would say do is pause this video and to see if you can code out this grocery list using both of the ways in which you can declare an array. So try to create in this case it would be a string array, but try to create an array in both formats here. All right, so if we go to our list and we were to code this out, hopefully you would, let's say we took a stab at this first one here in terms of giving each particular index a value. You should have something that looks like this here. Right, where we declare the array, we give it a string data type because we're going to be holding string values within our array. We have to use the opening and closing bracket. We give our array a name, and then here we use this new keyword and say new string instance, and then we're going to specify that's going to be 9 values held within our array. And so this was one way of doing it, right? And so you may have done both of these already, but if not, go ahead and pause this video again and then try initializing this array or populating this array using this initializer syntax here. All right, so hopefully you took an opportunity to see if you can accomplish coding out this list using this initializer syntax. But essentially what we're going to do is I'm going to do something such as this here. And I'll continue just to add items to my array by deleting what I previously did. I'm going to pause this video so that I don't waste precious time on the recording. All right, so here's my array and using this particular syntax. So we just initialize it. So eggs, milk, and then all the items in the list. If I were to expand this a little bit further, you'll see all the items in my array. and I end that particular statement with a semicolon. Just as a quick review, right, from the previous video, if I wanted to, let's say, for instance, output bread, the way I would do that here is say system.out.print, and I can say, I give the name of the array, use the opening bracket. In this case here, bread is at index, let's say 0, 1, 2, 3, is at index 3. And if I were to run this program, let me make sure I put a semicolon, I should get the value of bread in the terminal, right? Now, one of the cool things about this is that if I wanted to, I can go ahead and change that value at index 3 as well. So if I say groceries, position 3, I can assign it a new value. So even though it initially starts off with bread, I can say strawberries, and then now when I go to print out groceries at position or index 3, it should give me strawberries when I run my program. Let's see what happened here. I think it's something to do with the, let me try to run it again here. Okay, there we go. I think it was something wrong with the editor. So that's an example of how we can change the value within an array by tugging at the index. We can also change the values as well. Now, in future videos, we'll actually use a loop instruction. We can quickly populate an array. So we can initialize an empty array in this such manner here. This is permissible, and then we can use a looping structure to actually go ahead and populate our array during the runtime of the program. And we'll get into those details at a later time in later future videos here. So stay tuned.